The screaming started 3 blocks away. It was a sound I knew well. A high-pitched, hysterical wall of noise that meant only one thing: Jax Ryder was in the building. My name is Rayna Cruz. I'm 26 years old, a former FBI field agent, and currently, I am babysitting the most famous man on the planet. Agent Cruz! The head of security barked into my earpiece. VIP is moving. Eagle is in the nest. Do you copy? Copy, I replied, adjusting the earpiece hidden beneath my dark hair. I'm on the north exit. Clear. I stood in the shadow of the stadium's loading dock scanning the perimeter. My eyes moved constantly, dissecting the crowd, looking for threats. A camera flash, harmless. A hand reaching into a pocket too quickly. Threat. I wasn't a fan. I didn't own his albums. I didn't have a poster of his face on my wall. To me, Jax Ryder was just a package. A very expensive, very fragile package that I was paid to deliver safely from point A to point B. The double doors burst open. A phalanx of security guards pushed through, creating a human shield. In the center of the chaos walked Jax. Even I had to admit the camera loved him. He was tall, with messy blonde hair that looked like he had just rolled out of bed but probably took 2 hours to style, and eyes the color of whiskey. He wore a leather jacket over a white t-shirt, ripped jeans, and an air of effortless cool that made women weep. He was smiling, waving at the few fans who had managed to sneak past the barricades. Jax, Jax, marry me. He blew a kiss. The crowd surged. Move, I ordered, stepping into formation. Get him in the car. Jax looked at me. He winked. Relax, sunshine. They just want to say hi. They want to tear you apart for a souvenir, I said flatly, shoving him gently but firmly into the back of the armored SUV. Get in. I climbed in after him, slamming the heavy door shut. The noise of the crowd was instantly muffled, replaced by the hum of the engine and the smell of expensive leather and sweat. You're no fun, Jax complained, sprawling across the seat. He grabbed a bottle of water. My other bodyguards let me sign autographs. Your other bodyguards got fired because a fan ripped a chunk of your hair out, I reminded him, checking the mirrors. I don't get fired, and you keep your hair. Jax chuckled. He leaned forward, invading my personal space. So serious. Rayna Wright, ex-FBI. That's classified, I said, not looking at him. Everything about you is classified, he murmured. No social media, no photos, just a ghost in a black suit. He reached out his finger, hovering near my arm. Are you even real? I caught his wrist before he could touch me. I didn't squeeze, but I held him there. Don't touch the driver, Mr. Ryder, I said coolly. It's a safety hazard. He stared at my hand on his wrist. His eyes widened slightly. He wasn't used to being told no. He was used to yes, please, and more. You're strong, he noted, a smirk playing on his lips. I have to be. You're heavy baggage. I released him. He sat back, rubbing his wrist, watching me with a new expression. Curiosity. So, he said as we sped onto the highway heading towards the hotel. What's the plan for tonight? Party at the club, drinks in my suite. The plan is locked down, I said. We've had credible threats. A stalker. The Phantom. He sent another letter today. Jax's smile faltered. Another one. Yes, he knows your schedule. He knows you're in Chicago, which means we are skipping the club. You go to your room. I stand outside. No visitors, no girls, no fun. You really know how to kill a vibe, Rayna. He sighed, looking out the window. But I saw the tremor in his hand. He was scared. He just hid it well behind the rock star persona. We arrived at the Ritz-Carlton. We took the service elevator to the penthouse floor. I swept the room, checked for bugs, cameras, hidden intruders in the closet. All clear, I announced. Stay away from the windows. Jax flopped onto the massive bed, kicking off his boots. You staying? I'm stationed outside the door. Boring, he groaned. Come on, have a drink, watch a movie. I promise I won't bite. He flashed that $1,000,000 grin. Unless you ask nicely. I stared at him. He was charming, I'd give him that, but charm didn't stop bullets. Good night, Mr. Ryder, I said, walking out. I stood guard in the hallway for 6 hours. My feet ached, but I didn't move. At 3 a.m. the elevator chimed. A woman stepped out. She was stunning, red dress, high heels, carrying a bottle of champagne. I'm here to see Jax, she purred, trying to walk past me. I stepped in her way. He's sleeping. He's expecting me, she lied. I'm an old friend. Name Tiffany. You're not on the list, Tiffany. I'm special, she insisted, trying to push past me. I didn't budge. Turn around and leave, or I call security and have you banned. She glared at me. You're just jealous. You're just the help. I'm the help with a gun, I said calmly. Goodbye, Tiffany. She huffed and stomped back to the elevator. The door behind me opened. Jax was standing there shirtless, wearing only sweatpants. He looked sleepy and rumpled and unfairly attractive. What's the noise? He yawned. Just a fan, I said. Go back to sleep. Did you send her away? Yes. He leaned against the doorframe, crossing his arms. His chest was defined, covered in tattoos. You know, he said softly. Most guys in your position would have let her in, maybe even taken a bribe. I'm not most guys. No, he agreed, his eyes searching my face. You're not. He stepped closer. You must be hungry. Room service is closed, but I have a stash of peanut butter cups in the minibar. I'm on duty. Rayna? He said, saying my name like it was a song lyric. Take a break. 5 minutes, please. I can't sleep. The letter. It spooked me. I looked at him. The arrogance was gone. He was just a guy alone in a hotel room, terrified of a faceless enemy. 5 minutes, I conceded. I followed him inside. He tossed me a Reese's cup. We sat on the floor by the bed, eating chocolate in the dark. Why did you leave the FBI? He asked suddenly. I hesitated. It was personal. I made a mistake, I said. I trusted the wrong person, an informant. He burned me. People got hurt. So you punish yourself by babysitting spoiled pop stars. Something like that. I'm not that spoiled, he protested. You have a person whose only job is to carry your sunglasses, I pointed out. He laughed. Okay, fair point. He looked at me, his whiskey eyes serious. But I'm glad you're here. I feel safe with you. It was the most sincere thing he had said all day. That's the job, I said, standing up. 5 minutes are up. Wait, he stood up too. He was close, too close. I could smell his soap and sugar. What? You have chocolate on your lip, he whispered. He reached out. I expected him to wipe it away. Instead, he leaned in. His gaze dropped to my mouth. The air in the room grew heavy, charged with static electricity. He was going to kiss me. The pop star and the bodyguard. It was a cliché. It was forbidden. And I wanted it. I didn't move away. I held my breath. Bang! The sound of breaking glass shattered the moment. It came from the bedroom window. Down! I screamed, tackling Jax to the floor. We hit the carpet hard, my body covering his. Another shot rang out. A bullet embedded itself in the headboard right where Jax's head had been seconds ago. Stay down, I hissed, drawing my weapon from my holster. Don't move. What's happening? Jax gasped, trembling beneath me. Sniper, I said. From the roof across the street. I crawled to the light switch and killed the lights, plunging the room into darkness. We have to move, I whispered. The bathroom. No windows. I can't, he panicked. I can't move. Jax, look at me. I grabbed his face in the dark. Look at me. You trust me, right? Yes, he breathed. Then move. On 3. 1, 2, 3. We scrambled across the floor, bullets pinging around us. We threw ourselves into the marble bathroom, and I kicked the door shut, locking it. We sat in the dark tub, huddled together. Jax was shaking violently. I wrapped my arms around him, holding him tight. It's okay, I soothed, stroking his hair. I've got you. You're safe. He found me, Jax sobbed into my shoulder. The Phantom, he found me. And I found you first, I said fiercely. He has to go through me to get to you, and I don't die easy. We stayed like that for hours, tangled together in the dark, listening to the sirens approach. He wasn't the untouchable idol anymore. He was just a man. And I wasn't just an agent. I was his protector. And in the silence amidst the fear, something shifted. The professional line blurred. I felt his heart beating against mine, and I knew. I would take a bullet for this man. Not because it was my job, but because I was starting to care. The police arrived too late. The sniper was gone, but the paparazzi were there, hundreds of them swarming the hotel like vultures smelling blood. We can't go out the front, I told Jax. We were still in the bathroom. He was sitting on the edge of the tub, his head in his hands. He had put a shirt on, but he was still pale. "They'll tear me apart," he whispered. "If they see me shaking like this, my career is over." Jax Ryder cowered. "You're not a coward," I said, holstering my gun. "You're human, and we're not going out the front. We're going out the laundry chute." "The what?" "Laundry chute, basement, service exit. I have a car stashed 3 blocks away. A clean car, no GPS, no trackers." "You have a getaway car." He looked at me impressed despite the fear. "I like to be prepared." We moved fast. Down the chute, Jax ruined his designer jeans, which gave me a small amount of satisfaction through the steamy kitchen and out into the alley. We made it to the car, a nondescript gray sedan. I shoved Jax into the passenger seat and covered him with a blanket. "Stay down," I ordered. I drove. We left Chicago behind the lights fading in the rearview mirror. I didn't stop until we crossed the state line into Indiana. I pulled into the parking lot of the Starlight Motel. It was a dump. Neon sign flickering, peeling paint, and an empty pool filled with leaves. Perfect. No one would look for a pop star here. I rented a room with cash. Room 7. "Inside," I said, unlocking the door. The room smelled of lemon cleaner and old cigarettes. There was one bed. Of course. Jack sat on the edge of the bed. He winced, his hand going to his side. "You're hurt," I said sharply. "I'm fine. Just hit the tub hard when you tackled me." "Let me see." "Rayna, I'm fine. Shirt off. Now." It was a command, not a request. He sighed and pulled his t-shirt over his head. I sucked in a breath. His left side was a mess of bruises turning purple and black, and there was a long, shallow cut across his ribs, likely from the shattered glass of the window. It was bleeding sluggishly. "You're bleeding," I said, my voice softening. "Why didn't you tell me?" "Didn't want to be a burden," he muttered, looking away. "You already saved my life. I didn't want to whine about a scratch." "Sit still." I went to the bathroom and grabbed a towel and the first aid kit I always carried in my bag. I sat next to him on the bed. "This is going to sting." I poured antiseptic onto a cotton pad. I dabbed it gently on the cut. Jax hissed, his abdominal muscles contracting under my touch. "Sorry," I whispered. "It's okay," he gritted out. "You have gentle hands for a bodyguard." I focused on the wound, trying to ignore the heat radiating from his skin. He was beautiful. Even bruised and battered, he was a work of art. Tattoos covered his arms and chest, lyrics, symbols, a compass. "What does this one mean?" I asked, tracing a small bird on his collarbone, trying to distract him from the pain. "A phoenix," he said, watching me. "Rising from the ashes. I got it when my mom died, to remind me to keep going." I looked up. His eyes were vulnerable, open. "I'm sorry," I said. "She would have liked you," he said unexpectedly. "She liked strong women, women who didn't take crap from anyone." I smiled a little. "I think I would have liked her too." I finished cleaning the wound and applied a butterfly bandage. "There, you'll live." I started to pull away, but he caught my hand. "Rayna." "Yeah. Thank you for everything." He didn't let go. He turned my hand over, running his thumb over my palm. His fingers were calloused from playing the guitar. "You're shaking," he noted. I looked down. He was right. My hand was trembling slightly. The adrenaline crash. "I'm fine." I tried to pull away. "No, you're not," he said. "You're scared too. You just hide it better." He pulled me closer. I was sitting on the bed, my knees touching his thigh. "You saved me," he whispered. "You put your body between me and a bullet. Why, it's my job." "Don't give me that crap," he said softly. "You could have stayed on the floor. You covered me. You protected me." He leaned in. The air in the dingy motel room suddenly felt charged, heavy with unspoken things. "You're not just a bodyguard, Rayna. I'm what? You're the only person who sees me. Not Jax Ryder the star. Just Jax." He raised his hand and touched my face. His fingers brushed my cheekbone, then slid into my hair. He tilted my head back. "I want to kiss you," he admitted. "I wanted to kiss you in the hotel room. I want to kiss you now." "Jax, we can't. The protocols." "Screw the protocols. he growled. He closed the distance. His lips met mine. It wasn't hesitant this time. It was hungry, desperate. It tasted of fear and relief and chocolate from earlier. I should have pushed him away. I should have remembered my training. Never get involved with the principal. But I didn't. I melted. My hands found their way to his bare shoulders, gripping the warm skin. I pulled him closer. He groaned, his tongue sweeping into my mouth, tasting me. It was overwhelming. He kissed me like he wrote songs with passion, with rhythm, with soul. He pushed me back onto the bed. He hovered over me, careful not to put weight on me, his eyes searching mine. "Rayna," he breathed. "Stay with me. Not outside the door. Here. In the bed." "I'm supposed to keep watch," I whispered, though my resolve was crumbling like sand. "The door is locked. We're in the middle of nowhere. Just hold me. Please. I don't want to be alone tonight." I looked at him. The fear was back in his eyes. The little boy who lost his mom. The star who was hunted. "Okay," I whispered. "I'll stay." We lay down together. Fully clothed except for his shirt. He wrapped his arms around me, burying his face in my neck. I wrapped my arms around him, my hand resting protectively over his heart. "Good night, sunshine," he murmured, already drifting off exhausted. "Good night, Rockstar," I whispered back. I listened to his breathing even out. I didn't sleep. I watched the door, my gun under the pillow. But as I lay there holding the most famous man in the world, I realized the danger wasn't just outside. It was right here in this bed. Because I wasn't just guarding his body anymore. I was guarding his heart. And in doing so, I had left my own wide open. The next morning, reality crashed back in. I woke up to the sound of a phone buzzing. Not mine, Jax's burner phone. He groaned and rolled over, his arm tightening around my waist. "Ignore it." "We can't," I said, sitting up. "It might be important." I grabbed the phone from the nightstand. It was a text message. Unknown number. I opened it. My blood ran cold. It was a photo. A photo of us. Sleeping in this bed. Taken from the window. The timestamp was 10 minutes ago. And the text below it read, "Sleeping on the job, Agent Cruz. Tisk, tisk." He looked so peaceful. It would be a shame to wake him up. Permanently. I dropped the phone. "Jax!" I shouted, shaking him. "Wake up! We have to go now." "What? What is it?" He sat up bleary-eyed. "The Phantom," I said, grabbing my gun and checking the clip. "He's here. He followed us." Jax paled. "How you said the car was clean?" "I don't know." I threw him his shirt. "Put this on. We're leaving." I crept to the window and peeked through the blinds. The parking lot was empty, but I felt eyes on me. "Bathroom window," I ordered. "Go." We scrambled out the back window just as the front door exploded inward. We ran towards the woods behind the motel. Gunshots cracked in the air, chipping bark off the trees next to us. "Run!" I yelled, grabbing Jax's hand. We sprinted through the forest branches, whipping our faces. I could hear heavy footsteps behind us. "Who is he?" Jax gasped, stumbling. "I don't know," I panted. "But he's a professional. He tracked a ghost car. He found us in a motel that doesn't exist online." We reached a ravine. A river rushed below. "We have to jump," I said. "Are you crazy?" Jax looked down. It was a 20-foot drop. "It's jump or die, Jax." We heard the pursuer crashing through the brush, getting closer. Jax looked at me. He squeezed my hand. Together. Together. We jumped. The cold water hit us like a hammer. We went under the current, dragging us downstream. I fought to surface, looking for Jax. "Jax!" His head popped up a few yards away. He was sputtering. "I've got you!" I swam to him, grabbing his collar. Kick, kick towards the bank. We dragged ourselves onto the muddy shore a mile downstream. We were freezing, soaked, and exhausted, but we were alive. We lay in the mud, gasping for air. "You okay?" I asked. "Define okay." Jax coughed. "I'm wet, cold, and someone is trying to kill me, but..." He looked at me, his wet hair plastered to his forehead. He started to laugh, a hysterical, relief-filled laugh. "But that was the most exciting thing I've ever done." I stared at him. "You're insane." "Maybe," he grinned, shivering. "But I'm alive, thanks to you." He crawled over to me. He kissed me hard, tasting of river water and mud. "Let's go catch this guy," he said, standing up and offering me his hand. "I'm tired of running. Let's fight back." I took his hand. "Let's do it." The river spat us out 3 miles downstream. We dragged ourselves onto the muddy bank, gasping for air, our lungs burning. The water was freezing, numbing my limbs, but the adrenaline kept me moving. "Jax," I choked out, crawling over to where he lay in the mud. "Check in. Status." He rolled onto his back, staring up at the canopy of trees. His chest heaved. "Status wet, cold, and I think I swallowed a fish." I let out a laugh that sounded more like a sob. He was alive. He was making jokes. That was good. "We need to move," I said, forcing myself to stand. My legs wobbled. "Whoever was shooting at us saw us go into the water. They'll assume we drowned or they'll check the banks downstream. We need to be ghosts." We trekked through the woods for hours. The sun began to set, painting the sky in bruised purples and blood reds. It was getting colder. Jax was shivering violently, his teeth chattering. His designer clothes were ruined, torn, and soaked. We emerged near a small, sleepy town that looked like it had been forgotten by time. There was a laundromat, a diner, and a truck stop. "Stay here," I ordered, pushing Jax into the shadows of an alley behind the laundromat. "You're too recognizable. Even covered in mud, you look like an album cover." "I'm freezing, Rayna," he whispered, hugging himself. "I know. I'm going to get us dry." I broke into the back of the laundromat. It wasn't difficult. The lock was rusted. Inside, the air was warm and smelled of detergent. I raided the lost and found bin. I found a pair of oversized mechanic's coveralls for me and a plaid flannel shirt and jeans for Jax. I also grabbed a baseball cap. I brought them back to him. "Change. Fast." We stripped in the alley. There was no room for modesty. I saw the bruises blooming on his ribs from our fall. He saw the scars on my back from my time in the FBI. Neither of us said a word, but the shared vulnerability forged a new link in the chain binding us together. Dressed in dry, ill-fitting clothes with the cap pulled low over Jax's eyes, we walked into the truck stop diner. We looked like two drifters down on their luck. For the first time in his life, Jax Ryder was invisible. We sat in a booth at the back. I ordered black coffee and pancakes with the cash I kept in my waterproof boot lining. Jax wrapped his hands around the hot mug, closing his eyes. "This is the best coffee I've ever had." "It's sludge," I said, watching the door. "It's warm," he countered. He looked at me, his eyes serious. "What now, Rayna? We have no phones, no car, no backup, and someone wants me dead." "We find out who," I said. "I need a phone." I spotted a trucker leaving the restroom. He had left his smartphone on the counter while paying. "Distract the waitress," I told Jax. "How? You're a pop star. Charm her." Jax hesitated, then slid out of the booth. He walked up to the counter, flashing a dimpled smile at the tired waitress named Barb. "Excuse me, darling. I seem to have lost my way." While he turned on the charm, I swiped the phone. I ducked into the bathroom and locked the door. I dialed the one number I knew by heart. "Cypher," a digitized voice answered. "Who is this?" "It's Rayna, code Phoenix." There was a pause. "Rayna." "Holy hell, you're all over the news. They're saying you kidnapped Ryder. Manhunt is underway. FBI state troopers. Everyone is looking for you." "I figured," I said grimly. "Listen, Cypher, I don't have much time. I need you to trace a text." I recited the number that had sent the death threat to Jax's burner phone. "Give me 2 minutes," Cypher said. I heard the frantic clicking of a keyboard. "Okay, spoofed number. Bouncing through servers in Russia, China. Wait, they got sloppy. The original IP packet handshake happened in Chicago." "Where in Chicago?" "A secure server. Ryder Entertainment Group." My stomach dropped. "The management company." "Yes. And Rayna, the device ID is registered to an executive account, Sienna Blake." I leaned against the dirty tiles of the bathroom wall, closing my eyes. Sienna. Jax's manager. His best friend. The woman he called sister. "Are you sure?" I whispered. 100%. And Rayna? "There's more. I'm looking at her financials. She's in deep. Gambling debts, embezzlement. She's been siphoning money from Ryder's accounts for years. Millions." And Jax wanted to audit the books, I realized aloud. He told me he wanted to take control of his finances. If he audits, she goes to prison for 20 years, Cypher said. Unless the artist dies tragically. Then the insurance pays out, the books are closed, and she controls the estate. Thanks, Cypher. Wipe this call. I hung up. I wiped the phone down and slipped it back onto the counter as I walked out. Jax was back in the booth looking pleased with himself. She gave me a free slice of pie. I sat down. I didn't touch the food. I looked at him, this talented, trusting man who thought the world loved him. I had to break his heart to save his life. Jax, I said softly, we need to talk. You found something. He leaned in, eager. Did you find the phantom? There is no phantom, I said. The stalker letters. They were a distraction, a cover story. What do you mean? I traced the text. It came from Sienna's phone. Jax froze. The smile slid off his face. Sienna, my manager. He laughed nervously. Rayna, you're tired. That's impossible. Sienna is family. She's been with me since I was 16. She discovered me. She's stealing from you, Jax. I said, my voice steady but gentle. She's embezzled millions. And when you said you wanted to audit the books, you signed your own death warrant. She's worth more if you die a legend than if you live and sue her. No. He shook his head violently. No, I don't believe you. She makes me tea before shows. She held my hand at my mom's funeral. She wouldn't. She hired the sniper, I pressed. She tracked us to the motel. She wants you dead, Jax. Stop it, he shouted, slamming his hand on the table. The diner went silent. People turned to stare. Jax shrank back, pulling his cap lower. Tears were streaming down his face. Let's go, I said, grabbing his arm. We walked out into the cold night air. We walked to the back of the parking lot near the dumpsters. Jax kicked a tire of a parked truck. He kicked it again and again, screaming in frustration and grief. He punched the metal side of the truck until his knuckles bled. I let him rage. He needed to mourn. He was mourning the loss of the person he trusted most. Finally, he collapsed against the truck, sliding down to the asphalt, burying his face in his knees. I sat next to him. I wrapped my arm around his shoulders. I'm sorry, I whispered. Why does everyone leave? He choked out. My dad, my mom, now Sienna. Am I that unlovable? You are not unlovable, I said fiercely. I grabbed his chin, forcing him to look at me. Look at me, Jax. You are kind. You are talented. You have a heart too big for your own good. Sienna is the broken one, not you. She was my family, he wept. Family isn't blood, I said. Family is who stays when the bullets start flying. I'm here, Jax. I'm not going anywhere. He looked at me, his eyes red and raw. He leaned into my touch, desperate for comfort. Hold me, he whispered. Just hold me. I pulled him into my arms. We sat there on the dirty pavement of a truck stop, holding each other while his world fell apart. I stroked his hair, whispering quiet promises. After a long time, his breathing steadied. He pulled back, wiping his face with his sleeve. The grief in his eyes had hardened into something else. Something cold. She thinks I'm dead, he said quietly. Probably. Or she thinks you're running. She wants to control the narrative. Jax said, his voice gaining strength. She wants to play the grieving manager. She wants to release the memorial album. Cypher said she's planning a press conference tomorrow night, I added, at the Ryder Entertainment HQ in Chicago. Jax stood up. He looked different. The boyish charm was gone. In its place was a man who had survived the fire. We're going back, he stated. Jax, it's dangerous. If she sees you... We're not going to the police, he interrupted. She owns the police. She has lawyers. If we go to them, she'll spin it. She'll say, I'm on drugs, that you're crazy. So what's the plan? We need proof, he said. Hard proof. The actual accounting books, the recordings, whatever she keeps in her safe. You want to break into your own management company? I have a key. He tapped his pocket, then realized he didn't. Well, I had a key. I can pick a lock, I smirked, but the building will be crawling with security. I know the building, Jax said. I know the ventilation shafts. We used to sneak out that way to get pizza when I was on strict diets. He looked at me. Rayna, I need you to be my bodyguard one last time. Get me into that office. Get me the proof. And then, I'm going to destroy her. I looked at him. I saw the determination in his jaw. He was ready to fight. I'm with you, I said. Until the end. How do we get to Chicago? He asked, looking around the empty lot. I spotted an old pickup truck idling nearby. The driver was inside the diner. The window was open. Can you hotwire a car? Jax asked. I'm FBI. I grinned. I can hotwire a tank. We climbed into the truck. I stripped the wires under the dash. The engine roared to life. Jax looked at me with a mix of awe and arousal. Is there anything you can't do? Cook, I admitted, shifting into gear. I burn toast. He laughed. It was a small sound, but it was real. I'll cook, he promised. When this is all over, I'll make you the best breakfast you've ever had. It's a date, I said. We drove out of the parking lot, heading back towards the city that wanted to eat us alive. The road ahead was dark, but for the first time, Jax wasn't looking back. He was looking forward, ready for war. And I was his weapon. Chicago at 2 a.m. was a beast of a different color. The glittering skyline hid 1,000 sins, and tonight, we were about to expose the biggest one. We parked the stolen truck 3 blocks away from Ryder Entertainment Group. The building was a sleek monolith of black glass rising 30 stories into the night sky. The penthouse office, Jax whispered, pointing up. That's where she keeps the safe, behind the portrait of me. Of course she does, I muttered. Narcissist. How do we get in? The front door is biometric. We don't go in the front, I said, pulling a coil of rope and a grappling hook from the back of the truck Lucky found in the toolbox. We go up. Please tell me we're not climbing the building. Window washing platform. I pointed to the side of the building. It's docked on the 15th floor maintenance ledge. We climb the fire escape to the 5th, jump to the ledge, then override the platform controls. Jax looked pale. I sing for a living, Rayna. I don't do Mission Impossible. You do tonight, I said, checking my gun. I only had 3 bullets left. Stay close to me. Move when I move. We moved through the shadows. The alley smelled of garbage and damp concrete. We reached the fire escape. I pulled the ladder down. Up, I ordered. We climbed. The wind picked up as we got higher, whipping my hair into my face. Jax was panting, his knuckles white as he gripped the rusty metal. We reached the 5th floor. The jump to the maintenance ledge was only 4 feet, but looking down at the concrete alley 50 feet below made it feel like a mile. Don't look down, I advised. Just jump. I went first, landing silently. I turned and held out my hand. Come on, Jax. He hesitated. He looked down. Big mistake. He froze. Jax, I hissed. Do you want Sienna to win? His head snapped up. His eyes hardened. He took a breath and jumped. He landed hard, stumbling. I caught him before he could pitch over the edge. Gotcha, I whispered, our bodies pressed together against the cold brick wall. His heart was hammering against my chest. Thanks, he breathed. We scrambled onto the window washing platform. I hotwired the control panel. With a groan of hydraulics, the platform began to rise. Floor 20, floor 25, floor 30. We stopped outside the penthouse window. The office was dark. Can you open it? Jax asked. Glass cutter, I said, pulling a diamond-tipped tool from my belt, a souvenir from a previous case. I cut a circle near the lock, reached in, and turned the handle. We slipped inside. The office was opulent. White leather sofas, chrome tables, and a massive oil painting of Jax on the wall. That's creepy, I commented. Tell me about it, Jax muttered. He walked to the painting and swung it open. Behind it was a steel safe. Do you know the combination? I asked. It used to be my birthday, he said. He spun the dial. Nothing. Damn. She changed it. Try the date you signed your first contract, I suggested. He frowned, thinking. October 12th, 2015. He spun the dial. Click. You're good, he whispered, looking at me with admiration. I know people. I shrugged. He opened the safe. Inside were stacks of cash passports and a black ledger. The books, Jax said, grabbing the ledger. He flipped it open. Fake invoices. Shell companies. She's been funneling money to offshore accounts in the Caymans. Grab it, I said. And look for digital backups, hard drives. He found a small external hard drive. This must be the recordings Cypher talked about. We have everything, I said. Let's go. We turned to leave. The lights flared on, blindingly bright. Going somewhere? We spun around. Sienna stood in the doorway. She wasn't alone. 4 armed security guards mercenaries by the look of them flanked her. They had submachine guns aimed at our chests. Jax, Sienna sighed, shaking her head. You always were predictable. I knew you wouldn't stay dead. You're too stubborn. It's over, Sienna, Jax said, clutching the ledger to his chest. We have the proof, the embezzlement, the hitman, everything. Proof is only useful if you live to show it to someone. She smiled coldly. She walked into the room, her heels clicking on the marble. She looked at me. And you, she sneered. The bodyguard. You've been a thorn in my side for weeks. I should have hired a better sniper. You should have hired a better accountant, I shot back. Sienna's face twisted in rage. Kill them! Make it look like a break-in gone wrong. Disgraced bodyguard kills pop star in a murder-suicide pact. The press will eat it up. The guards raised their weapons. Get down, I screamed, shoving Jax behind the heavy oak desk. Rat-tat-tat-tat. Bullets shredded the air, tearing chunks out of the desk and shattering the windows. Glass rained down on us. Rayna, Jax yelled, covering his head. Stay down. I popped up and fired 2 shots. 1 guard went down, hit in the shoulder. 3 left. I'm out of ammo. I cursed, checking my gun. Empty. We were pinned down. No weapons. No exit. And a squad of killers closing in. We're going to die here, Jax whispered, his face pale. Not today, I said, looking around frantically. My eyes landed on a fire extinguisher mounted on the wall near the desk. Jax, I said, when I say go, run for the window washing platform. What about you? I'll cover you. No. He grabbed my arm. I'm not leaving you. This isn't a debate. You have the evidence. Go. I grabbed the fire extinguisher. I pulled the pin. Go. I hurled the extinguisher into the center of the room and fired my last bullet at it. Boom! The extinguisher exploded in a cloud of white chemical foam and shrapnel. The guards coughed, blinded. Now! I shoved Jax towards the window. We scrambled onto the platform. I hit the down button. Nothing happened. They cut the power, I realized. Sienna appeared at the shattered window, a handkerchief over her mouth, a gun in her hand. Goodbye, Jax. She aimed. I didn't think. I reacted. I grabbed the emergency release lever on the platform. It was designed for a slow descent. I yanked it hard, snapping the cable. The platform dropped. We free fell. Jax screamed. We fell 3 stories before the emergency brakes kicked in with a bone-jarring screech. The platform slammed against the side of the building, swinging wildly. We were hanging by a thread 20 stories up. Above us, Sienna leaned out and fired. Bullets pinged off the metal railing. We have to jump, I said, looking at the open balcony of an apartment on the floor below us. It was 10 feet away. Rayna, I can't. Jax was paralyzed with terror. Yes, you can. I grabbed his face. Look at me. You survived a river. You survived a sniper. You can survive this. I grabbed his hand. On 3, 1, 2, 3, we leaped into the void. For a second we were weightless. Then we crashed onto the concrete balcony. We rolled, hitting the patio furniture. Ow! Jax groaned. Move. I dragged him up. Inside. We broke the glass door and stumbled into a stranger's living room. An elderly couple watching TV screamed. Sorry, I yelled, flashing my expired FBI badge. National security call, 911. We ran out the front door, down the stairs, and out into the street. We ran until my lungs burned. We ducked into a subway station, blending into the late-night crowd. We sat on a bench, gasping for air. Jax was clutching the ledger like it was a lifeline. We made it, he whispered, disbelief in his voice. We're not safe yet, I said, checking the platform. She'll send everyone she has after us. Jax looked at me. His face was dirty, scratched, and bruised, but his eyes were shining. Rayna, he said. Yeah. You just jumped off a building with me. Part of the service. I tried to joke, but my hands were shaking. He reached out and took my shaking hands. He pulled me close. I love you, he said. The noise of the subway station faded away. The screech of the trains, the chatter of people, it all disappeared. I stared at him. Jax! I mean it, he said fiercely. I don't care if we're being chased by an army. I don't care if I lose every penny I have. I love you. You're the bravest, craziest, most amazing woman I've ever met. He leaned in and kissed me. It was a desperate, life-affirming kiss. A kiss that tasted of survival. I love you too, I whispered against his lips. The train arrived. We got on. Where are we going? Jax asked, leaning his head on my shoulder. To the one place she won't follow us, I said. The stage. The stage. Her press conference is tomorrow. I said, a plan forming in my mind. She wants to announce your death. Let's give her a resurrection. I looked at the ledger in Jax's lap. She wanted a show. I smiled grimly. We're going to give her the performance of a lifetime. The United Center was packed. 20,000 fans dressed in black holding candles. They weren't there for a concert. They were there for a memorial. Huge screens displayed photos of Jax smiling, singing, living. The caption read, Jax Ryder, 1998, 2024, gone too soon. On the stage, a podium was set up. Sienna Blake stood there looking tragic in a designer morning dress. She wiped away a fake tear as the cameras zoomed in. Thank you all for coming, she sobbed into the microphone. He was my brother, my soulmate. To lose him like this in a senseless act of violence. Backstage, hidden in the rafters 50 feet above the stage, Jax and I watched. She's good, Jax whispered, adjusting his harness. He was wearing his signature stage outfit, leather jacket, ripped jeans that we had stolen from his dressing room minutes ago. I almost believe her. Don't, I said, checking the carabiner on my own harness. She tried to kill you twice. Ready, he asked, looking at me. Ready. I signaled Cypher, who had hacked into the stadium's AV system remotely. Click. The mournful piano music cut out instantly. The stadium went pitch black. The crowd gasped. A single spotlight hit the center of the stage. Sienna looked around, confused. Technical difficulties. Can we get the lights back up? Then a guitar riff shredded the silence. It was the opening chord of Jax's most famous anthem, Rising from the Ashes. The crowd screamed. Confusion turned to hysteria. Is that? No way. From the ceiling, two figures descended, not slowly, fast, like angels falling from heaven. We hit the stage with a synchronized thud. I unclipped Jax's harness in one smooth motion. He grabbed the microphone stand. Hello, Chicago! Jax roared. The stadium exploded. The sound was deafening, a physical wave of noise that shook the floorboards. Sienna stumbled back, dropping her speech. Her face went from tragic to terrified in a split second. Jax, you're dead. Sorry to disappoint you, darling. Jax grinned, strutting towards her. But I'm hard to kill. He turned to the audience. My manager here says I'm dead. She says my bodyguard killed me. He pointed at me. I stood by his side, arms crossed, looking every bit the lethal protector. Does she look like a killer to you? No, the crowd chanted. She's not a killer, Jax said, his voice dropping to a serious, intimate tone. She's a savior. She pulled me out of a river. She took a bullet for me. She is the only reason I am standing here tonight. He turned back to Sienna. Unlike you. I don't know what you're talking about. Sienna stammered, backing away towards the wings. Jax, you're in shock. You need a doctor. I don't need a doctor, Jax said. I need the truth. He nodded to me. Rayna, play it. I hit the button on the laptop connected to the soundboard. The giant screens behind us flickered, the memorial photos vanished. Instead, a video appeared. It was the security footage from the penthouse office, the one I had managed to download before the power was cut. It showed Sienna holding a gun. It showed her ordering her men to kill us. Kill them. Make it look like a break-in gone wrong. Her voice boomed through the speakers, amplified 1,000 times. The crowd went silent. 20,000 people stared at the screen in horror. Sienna froze. There was nowhere to run. The exit was blocked by my presence. That's fake, she shrieked, her voice cracking. It's a deepfake AI. He's framing me. Is this fake too? Jax asked. He pulled the black ledger from his jacket. He held it up to the camera. This is the real accounting book, Sienna, the one you kept in your safe, the one that shows you stole $30 million from me over 5 years. 30 million. He threw the book at her feet. It's over, he said softly. Sienna looked at the book. She looked at the crowd now booing and throwing glow sticks at the stage. She looked at Jax. Her face twisted. The mask of the grieving sister fell away, revealing the monster underneath. "You ungrateful brat!" she screamed, lunging at him. She pulled a small knife from her garter belt, a last resort. "Jax!" I yelled. But Jax didn't need me this time. He sidestepped her lunge easily. He grabbed her wrist, twisted it, and sent the knife skittering across the stage. "I'm not the kid you found in the garage anymore, Sienna," he said, looking down at her with pity. "I grew up." Police officers swarmed the stage from the wings. They tackled Sienna, handcuffing her as she screamed obscenities. "I made you. You're nothing without me. I own you." "You owned a product," Jack said as they dragged her away. "You never owned me." He stood alone in the spotlight. He looked exhausted, battered, but free. He turned to the crowd. "I'm sorry," he said. "I'm sorry I have to cancel the tour. I have some cleaning up to do." The crowd groaned. "But," he continued to smile, touching his lips, "I promise I'll be back. And when I do, the music will be mine, not hers. Mine." He dropped the mic. He walked over to me. I was standing in the shadows of the drum kit watching him. He stopped in front of me. "You okay?" he asked. "I'm fine," I said. "You did good, rock star." "We did good," he corrected. He took my hand. He didn't care about the cameras. He didn't care about the fans. He pulled me into the center of the stage. "One more thing," he shouted to the crowd, not using a mic this time. "This woman, Rayna Cruz." He looked at me, his eyes shining with tears and love. "She's not just my bodyguard. She's my heart." He kissed me. It was the kiss of a lifetime. Sparks flew literally as the pyrotechnics went off behind us. The crowd roared. Confetti rained down. I kissed him back, wrapping my arms around his neck. For the first time in my life, I wasn't watching the perimeter. I wasn't looking for threats. I was just living. The beach house in Malibu was quiet. No paparazzi, no screaming fans, just the sound of the ocean. I sat on the deck watching the sunset. I wasn't wearing a suit. I was wearing one of Jax's oversized t-shirts. The sliding door opened. Jax walked out carrying 2 mugs of tea. He sat down next to me. "Happy?" he asked. "Very." I smiled, taking the tea. "Good, because I have news." "Oh no, another tour?" "No," he laughed. "The trial is over. Sienna got 20 years, no parole." "Good riddance." "And," he continued, pulling a piece of paper from his pocket, "I finished the album. The real one. The one I wrote." "What's it called?" "The Bodyguard," he said. I rolled my eyes. "Original." "Hey, it's catchy." He grinned. He leaned in and kissed my cheek. "But there's one song on there. It's about a girl who jumped off a building for me." "Does she survive in the song?" "She survives," he promised. "And she gets the guy." He reached into his pocket again. "Rayna," he said, his voice turning serious. "I don't need a bodyguard anymore. I'm safe. I'm free." My heart sank a little. "So, I'm fired." "You're fired." He nodded. He got down on one knee. "I'm firing you as my employee," he said, opening a small box. Inside was a ring, not a diamond but a sapphire blue, as the river we jumped into. "Because I want to hire you for a different position." "What position?" I whispered, tears blurring my vision. "Partner," he said. "Wife. Mother of my future rock star babies. Whatever you want to call it." "I like wife," I said. "Will you marry me, Rayna Cruz? Will you protect my heart for the rest of our lives?" "I will," I said, "on one condition." "Name it." "No more jumping off buildings." "Deal." He laughed, sliding the ring onto my finger. He picked me up and spun me around, the sun setting behind us, turning the world gold. We had survived the sniper, the betrayal, and the fall. We had walked through fire and come out the other side, not just alive but whole. The pop star and the bodyguard. It was a headline. It was a scandal. But to us, it was just the beginning of the greatest song ever written.